is the press not going to be here?
Doesn't look like it.
Say
since
there was just
For this one item, they probably wouldn't come.
Yeah.
If they talk to you, I'm trying to find it. There's still 3 million unsold. And so you wanted to like put a plug in for Steeple.
So 3 million, or there's 3 million unsold. So 16 million of it was already sold locally. Because that's the
Sold local and across the nation. They set it up so the.
Because
so
there's a
that-
half-day pre-sale or something.
Exactly. The retail, anybody locally who put in an order, they got
Do
priority.
we know how much was bought locally?
They haven't given me that
I'd
figure
be
yet.
curious. If you find that out, I'd be curious to know. All right, we gotta do our little business thing here. Hang on a second. We'll call the commission to order. Do we have any minutes or reports?
I have the collector's fees for February and the sheriff's fees for February.
Okay. How about commissioner liaison reports or announcements, upcoming meetings and/or events?
Met the new city administrator yesterday afternoon with the board of realtors. I'm going to meet him this afternoon again at 3 o'clock with the HBA. So
How's that going?
it's going good. I think he's being well received, and
Good.
he seems like he's got a real good attitude, user
It
friendly.
seems to be
I
that
like
way to me.
So
All right. And then we have a meeting next week. 2 of them.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I think the only item on the agenda is to proceed with the closing on the.
Well, the approval of the document.
Right, but that's all what I consider part of the closing. So I
Well,
guess.
our closing isn't until April 8th.
Okay.
So that's what I'm probably speaking out of order.
No, we're easygoing here. We're not as.
April 8th is the date I'm going to shoot for to have. That will be done with the press release. I'll get you
Okay.
a draft this week, but put it out on April 8th on the day of closing.
Okay. Well, I know we have to approve documents and sign things, so we have to have votes to do that. That's why we're actually here today. So I assume, Tony, you're going to take charge of what we need to vote on?
I will. I'll explain the resolutions. You have 2 resolutions in front of you that.
No?
Okay, they
I'm
were
sorry.
sent to you and your.
Yeah, attach them to your.
I didn't get my computer since that's all we had. So
Yeah, we figured since we were signing documents, we would just
Yeah.
be signing documents.
Let me show you.
sorry about
There was
that.
a whole bunch of them. So
But I know, but we can't sign them on a computer, so we knew there'd be paper.
No, I have all of the copies.
You got the
Yeah.
got the
Should
legal
be
ones. So
signed. Don't write on these because we're going to sign these and then I'm going to take it back.
I was going to
That's
write my
good.
name
You
at
have
the
it.
top.
Don't do that.
You have to tell him things like that,
Okay.
so he doesn't draw pictures. and
Now, you have 2 resolutions. One resolution is basically identical to the one that you approved in 2011 in connection with that refinancing. So we've gone through, we supplemented
Right.
the declaration of trust, the lease, all of that again. And so that approves documents that are right here, and they were on your email, but.
Right. No, I saw the emails. I just.
know. I don't expect you to, comb through those things. That's why you hire us. So.
She got comments on the POS. I combed through it. So.
Yeah. So we have this, and I will leave this with you all for
Okay.
the clerk's office for your official copy. But
Okay.
so the first resolution approves all of the terms of the documents and the sale, and I think Joy will go over with you the results of the sale, just numbers wise. I know
It was
she
awesome.
probably said
It was awesome. We're saving like $1.2 million. It's, how about that?
I got that.
Yep.
And hey, Debbie, that reminds me. Will you update the spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet?
She's already, I think she already did that.
I need-
Well, I was doing the debt service spreadsheet, but
The big one, the 20-year one.
No, I can
Yeah.
do that.
Will you update that so we can take a look at it? Thank you. Sorry. Shiny object. I remember these things when they hit me. I got to say them, or
good thing you said not to write on these. We would have been putting a note. Here.
we would have been putting a note on there.
So that's the first resolution
That's this one.
in front of you. If you want to go ahead and act on that.
do that one else?
Now,
Do you wanna
what
read
we
it?
would do.
I was browsing through them. That's fine.
Well, you can read that one now. That's the longer one.
The,
Where at?
And what number? We haven't done a resolution yet this year, have we?
I don't think so. I don't remember any.
You did the G17, they did the G17 resolution. The resolution where you designated Stiefel as the underwriter.
Oh, we did do that.
Was it a resolution?
Yes, it had resolution.
So this will be resolution 2.
yeah. Okay, good.
You asked me about that. What
Can I write on that?
Yeah.
number that one was?
you,
All right, then hang on a second. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2, which authorizes the county to enter into a lease purchase transaction. The proceeds of which will be used to refinance the county's 2009 lease purchase obligations for the jail project and Sheriff Law Enforcement Office Center, and to approve the execution of certain documents and connections therewith. You'll get a copy of it.
So moved.
Second, call roll.
Jeff
Yes.
and Mark.
Yes, by roll call vote, resolution number 2 is approved. Okay, Tony.
the second item before you is something different than what you have seen in connection with past financings. And that is a resolution to approve tax compliance procedures. And I have a presentation that we're gonna just run through, and we don't have to do it right this second, but this was what we talked about as far as going through why we need the compliance procedure, what it means to you on an ongoing basis. And so if you would like, we can go through that now.
I don't need
You
it.
can approve it, or you can approve the resolution, and then this will be a training for the bond compliance.
I would suggest the latter is a better option. I mean, I think that we're aware of what we were going to end up having to do, and we have new obligations that didn't exist before. Thank you to the federal government.
Yes.
Very much appreciate all their.
Just basically make sure we're not making more money than.
Right, this is arbitrage, and we got all sorts of fun stuff. And basically, this will apply to all of our bonds that are outstanding, not just this issue. All of our bonds. Thank you,
Yeah.
federal
So,
government.
do we got to pass resolutions for those two, or does
Just
this
one
cover
resolution that covers all of them.
everything?
A resolution
Perfect.
which will approve the tax exempt financing compliance
For all the
procedure
bonds.
that was attached.
Good.
Right.
All right.
To the.
And the procedure's attached, and it talks about all of it.
No, I'm
No, I got
separate
one. I got one.
copies if you
I'm
want
fine.
those now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure we're in compliance.
All right. So I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3, which authorizes a tax compliance procedure for the financial obligations of Cole County, all of our outstanding issues.
So moved.
Second, call roll, please.
Mark
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
By roll call vote, resolution number 3 is approved.
Okay.
Next.
Do you have other items of business, or do you
No,
want me to
you're
just run through this?
you are it today. We came here just for you. I hope you enjoy that.
Do you want me to
All
run
right.
that over to Marvin real
Like
fast?
they need to recess. I mean adjourn.
Do it in the-
Oh, I thought you were
It's just a
good.
review.
I thought you wanted to do this after, but we're good.
How long is this going to take?
20 minutes.
Let me ask a better question.
Yeah.
How much of this do we actually need to know? How much of this actually applies to what we do? As opposed to Debbie, who, is the finance director, as opposed to the
Well,
auditor.
Let me give you a quick overview. The reason I'm staying for this is because my thought is to go through it when I do your annual disclosure every year.
Mhm.
Debbie's going to have to do a checklist. And so my thought is to sit down and remind Debbie every year that she's got to do the checklist. There's certain high-level requirements, though, that the commission would be responsible for, would be like if they entered into an operating agreement, that type of thing.
Yeah, just real quick.
Okay.
Let me tell you the part that.
And then we'll go-
That would probably be if there's things we really
You
need.
need to know about.
And then we can go through the detail with Debbie.
That would be perfect.
Okay, you need to know about the fact that all of these tax exempt financings, as you know, they all come with strings. The IRS has decided to treat this like a grant,
Mhm.
So because of that, they are really more stringent on compliance issues. And the one that affects the commission directly, because I'm hoping that any agreements for use of the facilities and all of that come before you.
Mhm.
I know
They do.
in some counties, we have sheriffs who just kind of sign this.
He's not any. I mean, I will tell you that as a matter of law,
Yeah,
any agreement signed by the sheriff is invalid unless the commission signs it.
right. So you have to be concerned about anything that gives a legal right of use of financed facilities or assets, okay? With jails, one of the things that comes often, it seems, is that the sheriff decides they have extra capacity, and gee, wouldn't it be nice to generate some money on that? I'm going to enter into contracts with other jurisdictions.
Right. For example, we have a contract with the federal government.
That is something we needed to know about.
We have a contract with the federal government.
I need to see the contracts before we leave today. The
Those were
federal
entered in-
government is not, for federal tax purposes, on tax exempt bonds, the federal government is treated like a private entity. Like you entered into an agreement with, one of those private prison operator companies, okay? And so we would need to look at those contracts, make sure that the contract complies with the
New requirements
terms.
that never existed
They're not,
before.
no, that these requirements have always existed. The requirement to follow up and document that you're checking it annually is new.
Okay.
So
what are the terms we need to be concerned about?
it relates to whether you are absolutely setting aside space for the federal government in exchange for dollars,
Which we're not.
okay?
That's what I
Or
figured.
it's just available on, if you show up with prisoners
If-
and we happen
if
to
we
have space,
if we have space, we will house prisoners.
then that's not going to be a problem.
We have an agreement with the state
Mm-hmm.
through mental health. Maybe does that sound right?
Well, what about the cities?
Which is 6 beds,
Yeah.
and we do
And those will be fine.
and we do guarantee 6 beds.
You do.
And they pay if they're full, they pay
Uh-huh.
us for 6.
Okay.
If they're empty, they pay us for 6.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we also have an agreement with Jefferson City
Uh-huh.
where they can have up to 20 beds, and they do get priority on that
They do.
with Jefferson City. Only for they're prisoners. They're the city prisoners,
Yeah.
and that's part of the underlying land restriction. When we
But
acquired,
They're a government, so that should
yeah,
be
when
fine.
we acquired the
Right.
land, the deal in return for they gave us the land for $1 was we would give them 20 beds.
Okay. Okay.
And those are the only contracts I'm aware of. Those are the only contracts that have ever come across the commission desk.
Okay.
There are times, I will tell you, because of the nature of jails, there are times that other people, there are other prisoners housed. For example, if we arrest somebody on an out-of-town warrant, they're going to be housed until they're extradited or transferred. If we have maybe a trial here, criminal trial, it's on a change of venue, we may be housing somebody while that trial is going on.
Sure.
But those would not rise to the level of actual
No.
contracts.
No, and those are never going to create a problem.
Okay.
And any contracts that you have with the state or other local political subdivisions are not going to create a tax issue.
Okay.
It's something that at the time we issue, like now, we would have to decide whether it rises to the level of reporting those,
Right.
Jeff City or the state as entities that are
And
benefiting
Jeff
from
City-
the financing, and
as you know,
it's
Jeff
pretty
City's
low.
a political subdivision inside of Cole County.
Yeah, right.
So they're all our. In the end, their court is actually part of our court. You know, the circuit courts, municipal divisions
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
are actually
right.
parts of circuit courts. So.
Right, right. So, remind me how many beds are in that facility total?
We should
Okay,
know this.
so there's 180. This is going to be a 3-part answer. There's
Okay.
180 what I would call standard beds.
Mm-hmm.
There are 6 medical beds, and then there are 25 holding
cells.
25 maybe more, somewhere in the ballpark of 25 holding cells.
Okay.
All of which actually have beds in them, because to have a cell you have to have a bed.
Yeah.
But
How many
those
holding cells we got?
That's too-
our max capacity is 212. So maybe you can do math.
212?
212 is our max capacity. That's if we put a person in every single bed in that facility, it's 212.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'm
And
not concerned about
so
this 20 bed.
the
and
city
6
has
bed
the
thing.
20 guarantee, although they rarely, if ever, use it. Mental health has the 6 guarantee. And then if we have space available, we house federal prisoners. We currently house, last jail report, I think we had 25 of them in there. But because we're not running anywhere near capacity right now.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Thank God.
And,
Really?
Yeah, we built this, and we don't. The biggest fear with building a new jail is that you go from your smaller jail to your new jail, and then everybody says, "Hey, you got a big jail, let's fill it."
Oh, gee.
And a jail, we built this. It's designed to last till 2023 before we even discuss an expansion. And that means we've got to get through 8 more years with 180 overnight beds. We don't want to fill it up to max the day one.
Sure. Yeah. On the federal contract, the fee that you get for housing those, is it the same as what you would get from any other jurisdiction that you're providing temporary housing for? Or how are the fees established?
We have the fee with the federal government was negotiated.
Okay.
I mean, that was between
Okay.
the negotiation was actually between the sheriff and the U.S. Marshal.
Okay.
As you know, we have a district court here. So
Yeah,
they negotiated it directly. As far as the city goes, we don't charge them.
Yeah,
They get
right,
20
because of
beds.
that, sure.
Mental health was a
No.
negotiated
Right.
contract, and
I'm-
I don't recall what the dollar amount on that one is.
I'm wondering, is there a particular per diem, though, that is charged for any of these other jurisdictions that just need temporary housing?
We have
You have some
we have a
kind of
number. It was like
policy on that.
I don't hold me. $73 a day or something like that is our.
After an
Yeah.
indirect study was
We
done.
did an indirect cost study
Sure.
and evaluated what the cost of a
State
prisoner is.
set by legislature, though.
Now we get reimbursed. All jails do
Mm-hmm.
get reimbursed by the state. I don't know if you're familiar with that. We get $19 a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. That helps.
I should have put that in as a revenue disclosure.
Yeah.
Well,
That's our loss leader.
those are only on prisoners that are convicted and remanded to the Department of Corrections.
So if they don't do time, we don't get paid for anything they sit in there for.
Yep.
They can sit there for 3 months, but if they don't get sentenced and sent to
And
the big
delivered
house,
to correction.
Really? Wow.
So
I
if they
didn't know
get
that.
sentenced to less than a year, we don't get paid. If they get probation, we don't get paid.
if it's less than a
Wow.
year, we don't
But
get
it's-
paid either.
How
Right,
odd
because
is that? Yeah.
corrections won't take anybody that's less than a year.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
But that's not in all honesty, it's not a significant enough revenue stream we worry about.
Sure. Right. Right. So, okay. Well, nothing that I've heard here causes me great alarm, which is good. So
It's not a profit-making business, trust me.
no.
That's what the taxpayers are paying for, unfortunately.
The federal tax law concerns have to do with trying to make certain that tax-exempt financing is not being used for private, to
they're-
benefit private entities, and they consider the federal government a private entity. And so the contract...
That answers a lot of questions that I've been having for years. Now I understand why the IRS is fundamentally corrupt. Right there, because they don't believe the law applies to them.
Yeah.
So you record all these, so I say these things, you don't have to.
So those are the kinds of contracts you have to be concerned about. Sometimes, I can't quite imagine you all doing this, but sometimes folks decide they have just a little extra space or on the land, or maybe they're okay putting a cell tower on the antenna.
No.
Don't ever agree to that unless somebody looks at that.
There will never be any private usage out of that facility.
No.
Do you want to talk about sales? Oh, the worst I ever heard was, not one of my clients, it was a fire protection district, used bond proceeds to buy a bunch of fire trucks, then sold the fire trucks and moved the money to the general fund.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not concerned about that.
We can't really sell the jail, nobody wants to buy it.
No, it would be
No,
like if
no.
you had a bunch of equipment or,
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
doing that.
So, these are the kinds of questions that we've established Debbie, the finance officer, as the bond compliance
Right.
officer, which made sense to me. I just made that executive decision.
And we
sort of.
agreed with it, by the way, Debbie.
Good, okay. And
There will not be anything extra in your check.
so The questionnaire, and I think Joy has this too, but this is on the back of the tax compliance agreement. So each time there's a new financing, we will provide the form of the compliance checklist, and it might differ slightly depending upon what's being financed. So if you called me up and said, well, we're going to enter into a lease purchase for, I don't know, a road grader or something like that, well, that's going to look a little different than the one for the jail. So
We don't lease purchase anything.
That's awesome.
Not that I'm aware of.
Now, I'm not.
What do you consider the jail, the sheriff cars that we just did?
Oh, yeah, we did operate. It's a lease. It's not a lease purchase. We've been
We got
operating.
options,
We
so-
bought. We're leasing
It'd be a
9
lease and
sheriff's vehicles as an experiment.
Under a true lease, not
Yeah,
a,
like if you leased
not a
your
lease
if you
with an
leased your
option to
car
purchase.
if you leased your car that's out on the corner
like
from
that?
it's exact same lease.
I wasn't paying attention.
We can purchase them afterward if we want to,
Hey,
but we
anybody-
don't
at
have
nominal
to.
value or at fair market value.
Fair market value.
Yeah, it's a true lease.
All right.
It's a
Couldn't
true
be
lease. It's
couldn't
not,
be a tax exempt under those terms.
and it's not tax exempt.
Yeah. So if you had a lease purchase that was entered into on a tax exempt basis, then it falls under these procedures. Okay, so you have to be concerned about those sorts of things. But you will not be able to complete this use questionnaire by yourself. Well, I mean, I guess you sit in all the commission meetings, perhaps.
By
but-
and large, she does.
But you will. We would expect that you will make a couple of phone calls. You know,
When's that due? When
you get
It's
to
not
decide.
specific.
It's just annual, so you
Any-
get to
That's why I
decide.
was
What day's
deciding
today?
disclosure.
27th.
April 1st of 2015 will be the next disclosure. Is that
You
fair?
know-
Is that, or does it have to be in less than a year from today?
It doesn't,
But
but
we finish our disclosure 180 days after the end of your fiscal year, and I don't think you get your audit done much sooner than that, do you?
No.
So it's like July
End
1.
of June, yeah.
But I'm normally talking
But-
to her about it 2 or
It's at
3
that
months
time,
before
so
that.
that might
So will there be one this year, or will then the first one be next year? Is my
the
question.
first one could be next year.
I
But
like next year.
Yeah, I understand. But you're moving on. Yes.
Hey, Mark, what was we supposed to do? Me and Debbie are having a
right,
brain fart right,
right.
now.
I'll send you a fee agreement.
And Mark goes, here, watch the meeting.
Yeah.
Now
Here's a link.
that said, we have just basically gone through this questionnaire by
Okay.
you telling me
So
what
the
you
federal,
did.
the federal
And
one's
so-
one you need to see.
Yeah, so this is something that, frankly, we can complete and put in the file immediately with
Okay.
respect to
perfect.
the 2011 issue
Okay.
and this issue. So then you start clean.
2015.
And
the
then,
next one will be a year
and
from
then
now,
it does
basically.
make sense, frankly, to tie it with the timing of your annual continuing disclosure
Okay.
reports, because you're just thinking about annual compliance at that time anyway.
That makes sense.
So that's fine. And
Who are we reporting it to?
this is something that is required to be maintained by you in a bond compliance file relating to each transaction. You keep it.
So it
But-
means if the IRS calls and says, "I want to see your bond compliance file and I want to see this checklist," you got to be able to reach in and pull
That's
it out.
exactly right.
You can't
Right.
say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I got to go back and do that."
Right. And
It's my understanding that if they were to call you for an audit, they only give you like 2 to 3 weeks before they show up. So if you don't have something, you really may be scrambling.
yeah, the best thing, and we'll talk about this, after you all are gone, but record keeping. I mean,
Yep.
they just absolutely are
Yep.
really strict on record keeping. And as you might guess, when you do your personal taxes, I mean, you know that you have to maintain all the backup for a certain period of time because you might get audited, and
Right.
the burden is on you, not them. So, yeah, so that's where we are. And in the checklist, I mean, it does say, were all the finance facilities owned by the issuer during the entire period? If yes, great. If no, it says call your bond counsel.
Technically,
There you go, that's good.
technically, no.
Excuse me.
Don't we? Under the lease, we don't actually own the
Yes, you
facility,
do.
do we? Oh, we do own it
Yeah.
for purposes of this.
You own it.
Okay.
I mean, you have legal title.
Because I thought we leased it back to somebody.
You did.
And so it's back and forth. I don't know who actually in those documents. I didn't look to see who has ownership through those.
The
all those
county,
documents.
the county has fee ownership.
Okay.
And then entered into a long-term, like a 40-year
Right.
base lease
Right.
with the trustee, and
But
then they
don't
leased
actually-
it back.
And they don't take any title through that.
No,
Okay.
no,
Because
Yeah.
title means different things in different places.
No, I know, right, yeah. So I think that's really what you all need to know about this.
Good. We will not endeavor to do anything to violate those rules.
All right.
But I won't be here next year.
And Debbie
so-
will
I
make
know.
sure.
Well,
And the auditor.
The auditor. Our new auditor now.
And what's her new position? Tax compliance.
Tax
Bond
compliance
compliance.
officer.
Oh, tax compliance.
Mhm.
All right.
What?
Congratulations, Debbie. That's one more title that means nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Only if I don't do
it
it,
entails
means a
new
lot.
duties.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And then, there are a fair
New job
number of
description.
other requirements that are on her as the finance officer, and those are things that, she and Joy have already been going through, but the arbitrage rebate calculations that we do for you and that sort of thing, that all falls under that.
Sounds good.
So, okay?
Do you need other things from us?
I don't think so. I need
Sure.
you to sign documents.
So we're saving right at 1.2 million over the next 9 years.
Do you want me to be exact?
No, they don't have to
Why
be
don't you hand
exact.
me
I'm
those
just
documents, Tony, and I'll just
throwing
start
it out
signing
there.
them.
Okay.
Just make sure when
While I'm here.
I'm talking to people about it, because we still get a lot of heat about building the Tajma jail and why we have an interstitial layer there and blah, blah, blah. Well,
Oh, I'm
1.2
sorry.
All right.
Thank you, Debbie.
And that includes the finance charge.
After, yeah, so
This
that's
is,
after payment of
the
expenses.
county's copy, and on this one, just sign the resolution.
Well, and then that way the
Sure,
other
sure.
yahoos that say we spent 35 million on a jail, they'll
Debbie
have to
has them
change it
right
to
there on the
34
table.
million. They always
Well,
like to include,
We did another refinancing, and I can't remember if you were here.
It needs to go to-
or not.
These all have to be
Yeah.
sealed.
yeah,
so-
because y'all started it in 07, right? Or something before I got here.
I just-
And then right when I
Stuck
got here in
the page
09,
in there
I
so it's
think.
easy to get to. I guess sign all these?
So
Were they
I don't,
noted?
Yep.
and then we did what was the one in 2011? That was for
Well, that's
the,
what, I'd have to go back, because you saved money on that one too. That was like,
Yeah.
that was like this one.
so. Yeah, we like seeing you.
And I'm gonna get copies of those later, Betty.
So let's see, I go look for coffee. Did you really make me coffee?
Oh, I'm sure one of the girls did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then.
Some of these-
Just full stack of documents that have to be attested.
I
by
assume
Marvin.
anything that doesn't have a sign here, I don't have to worry about.
Exactly. So who's running for?
Sam Bushman,
He's the only one.
who owns a store here downtown, is the only person running.
Yep.
So he's a nice guy.
Now, what about,
Not taking our meeting notes.
And the auditor is leaving.
I know.
And
So
his
The deputy.
deputy is going to
Oh,
be
that
replaced.
should be good. Is that
I-
good?
yeah, I
mean,
think
don't
that's
know
good.
this
No, no,
person,
she's
but
good.
I always like having
She's
continuity.
good people. She's
Yeah.
good people.
I think continuity is good in some of those things.
Tony, what are
Change
you
that
doing?
total of the jail
I have a
for
couple
you.
of questions for everybody. Cost of
Actually,
insurance
what because
acquisition.
I used to know it,
I
and now
don't
I've
have
done.
CUSIP numbers yet. I asked
Well, we
Tom
knew
to
that.
send
180?
us-
180 in the
we'll
pods.
Okay,
I knew
so
that.
that's all right. How many?
We're not planning that yet.
Medical, civil, booking, 206.
206. That was close. I said 212.
Yeah, two. Okay, so what do we have in the mental? We got like 3 over on the
Six.
mental, or
But they're
that's
not separate beds. They're just an allocation that we
that's just a
said.
room, isn't it? To where you can take them for.
Oh, really?
Well, I
Okay.
think if we have to isolate them, we can use the medical rooms as the isolation room.
Okay.
That's how they're set up.
We got 2
Yeah.
medical, right?
Right.
Is there
It'll be in each.
6 beds in
Tax
the medical, or 6
compliance
one?
agreement.
It's one room.
It's
big
one
room or
room,
2
but
big
it's-
rooms.
it's one room with a bunch of small rooms in it.
I ain't been to them.
2011.
Go over and
Confused.
tour your jail.
For 180, but total is.
I went through it enough times before. I thought I'd had it down pat.
It's like anything. If
Yeah,
you don't
I-
keep going over, you kind
Not
of.
gonna have an
Well,
issue.
gave it to somebody else
I,
the other day.
I do want to get that federal contract.
Yeah, so I asked her about that.
Okay, all righty.
I actually tried to get the
Do I need to
state
date
one.
this? 8038G?
Yes.
Today's the 26th.
Okay, now, I think last time we had you go ahead and sign the excerpt of minutes.
All right.
Okay, so.
I think
just
that's
add
everything I have to do.
Aside there, and, let's see, oh, I didn't fill in the, that's for approval of this big resolution. This one, okay? Because your minutes, of course, don't get approved
Here you go, Tony.
in time. Let me run through them real quick before you.
Debbie?
What?
I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Who, are you a notary, Betty?
That's it?
Yes.
You're so important. You get
Okay,
a
so I'll need to
one-time
get
shot.
Mark's signature notarized.
Let's see if there's anything before we stand.
That's fine.
You get this, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't sign that petition. I went and looked at it. I didn't see your name on there either.
Apparently they were on the radio talking about how bad a person I am.
Why? Because you have an opinion that we ought to knock it down
The
because
short-term
it's,
ones
does it?
showed up again today.
You guys are
Just the
heroes.
short ones, but I mean,
Right.
that's
You're gonna
what's
protect
really
it.
affecting
I heard
here.
that's the center.
I'm just looking at other options so that way if we do knock it down.
They said you're protecting it.
Is your issue
You're the
that,
hero.
that on hold, is that short?
There are 326 people in Jefferson City now that are your entire constituency.
I think it's
Good luck in
it's
2 years.
longer. I mean, it
If I
hasn't
pave a
been
road,
out
I'll
there
have
all that many
328.
years. My guess is there's about 14 years
Castle
left
Rock,
on it,
add 15 to
maybe
that.
13. Probably had a 7.
Castle Rock and Landing Creek.
It's an advance of funding, but the call, I mean, at this point, they're
Debbie, do you have
probably
anything else
gonna
for
just
us?
wait for the December
We stand
1 to come
recess?
along so it'll be current.
I have a, sorry.
What?
Okay.
Okay, there's the more for Marvin to sign.
Nope. Oh, well, all of this, yes.
This one,
Oh,
all those,
yeah.
okay, and then.
I'm going to entertain a motion to stand in recess.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We will get out of your hair.
Okay.
And you have to
Oh, wow.
have it notarized.
Hey, tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
Have
why,
everything-
if you,
You be around tomorrow?
if you're a
No.
notary, you were
I'm
here,
doused.
and so you
Okay.
could notarize his signature.
I got 3
Okay.
o'clock, we're meeting with HBA and, the new administrator, Steve. I could come by, what I just wanna do is measure it up and then I'll kinda draw it up on paper. I can get an idea on tile pricing
Michael, Mike, after 10 o'clock,
Part of the,
10:30, Michael's home.
too. Okay, today or tomorrow?
No.
Or
Yeah,
today.
tomorrow will be home today. Today would be
They're on
better.
spring break today, right?
So he's home.
Okay, so after
So-
10:30?
Yeah, after 10:30.
So, I mean.
Call me
this
before you do it. You go over,
come up in the title search.
and I'll call him or text him and let him know that you're coming by. That way
Okay.
he won't freak out if you're knocking at the door.
I gotta go tighten up some plumbing on a job we did yesterday too. It had a drip. It's like, where's it dripping at?
Am I not gonna see you again?
You're not gonna see me again.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for everything you've done for us, Joy.
Can I come by next door and like knock on
Across the
your door?
street, anytime.
I was gonna say, it's not too far.
Anytime.
Where are you gonna have to park it now?
I got a spot back. I get my old spot back after 8 years. We've been paying for that parking tag for 8 years.
I will miss you.
Nah, you won't.
It's been a fun
It's